Good day and welcome to another edition of the Military and Foreign Affairs Network. I am your host, the voice of reason. Today we're going to talk about free stuff. What kind of free stuff should you have as an American citizen? What kind of free stuff would you like in the nation state that you live in? Well, first and foremost, most people who want free stuff want free healthcare. Free healthcare sounds fantastic. Just wake up, you have a sore throat or some sort of ailment, and you just get up and you get in your vehicle, or maybe we're getting into the realm of like free transportation, right? But I'm not going to touch on that yet. But you get up and you decide to go to the doctore and you are treated for free. That sounds fantastic. It really does. Now, I guess to kind of circle back on like getting there, right? Getting to the doctore. I imagine free transportation in some manner sounds pretty good too. I've seen a lot of arguments out there within the socialist circles that there should be free transportation. Now, what does that look like? How is that done? Does the state give you a car? Are you given an allowance? And you then go out and you buy the shit box of your choosing, or is this covered through public transportation? Of course, being free and operated by the state. What else should be free? What else should the state hand over to the quote unquote citizenry? To the former stakeholder. How about education? Education. Should that be free? Should education be a human right? So we've got free healthcare, we have free transportation, and now we're going to have free education. You're going to be able to go to the indoctrination center of your choice and go through a further indoctrination process extra of grade school, grade 1 through 12. If you choose to make it through grades 1 through 12. All right, so we have free healthcare. We have free transportation. We have free education. What else? What else should be free? What do you think? What else should be free in our utopia society? What should be free? How about shelter? Shelter in some manner should be free. Now the question is how much do we spend on shelter, right? Is a house a universal right, like a house in a little yard? Should a tiny home be a universal right? Why should someone have a large, big, beautiful house on an acre of land, 2 acres, 3 acres, 4 acres of land, maybe a garden, and other folks live in a 500 square foot plywood box on the 3rd level of this complex? What do you think? I'm just asking the question, right? Should it be a mini home? Should it be a home? Should it be subsidized in some manner? Hey, the state will give you a certain amount of money Maybe it's based on your family size. Maybe to encourage the increase in population where we don't have to import individuals in from failed states, right? I mean, let's face it, right? Why would someone come here if they weren't leaving a failed state? I'm not going to get into that. So again, what are we going to do for housing? What is that going to look like? Again, I don't know. I'm just asking the question, right? So now we have free health care. We have free transportation. We have a free home. All free. Now, does everyone get a job? Do you need a job? I mean, if you're being provided health care, if you're being provided transportation, if you're being provided with food subsidies, if you're being provided with housing subsidies, so all of this is free, right? You wake up, you have your health care, so you're sick, you can go to the doctor. If you want to go someplace, you have your free transportation. You have your free housing, and you have your food subsidy, right? We don't want you to go hungry. So does that cover everything? Does that do it? What else should be free? I kept missing education. I mean, I don't know why you would want, you may not need, why would you need an education then? So look, hypothetically, right? So if you have free housing, free transportation, free healthcare, food, what would be the purpose of going to school? I mean, you have pretty much everything covered, right? All this is covered. But, maybe you want to go to take an art class. Maybe you want to do something like that, right? Maybe you want to study Mapplethorpe. I don't know. Just an idea. I don't know. Now, work. Maybe you decide you don't want to go to school. And you don't want to be indoctrinated. But you want to do something. You're bored, right? Maybe you want to do something. Maybe you want to work. What does that look like? How does that occur? Does the state give you a job? Right? What does your ability look like? And then we'll just match that ability with a job. Maybe? Now, who pays for this, right? Who pays for this? I don't know. I mean, we'll get the money from somewhere, I'm sure, right? I mean, we just have to. I mean, we could probably just create it out of something. And that something will then pay for all these benefits, right? I imagine it's a pretty cool place to live, right? I mean, I would guess that if as the founding fathers that got on the boat and sailed across the ocean from Western Europe. Yep. Western Europe. These Western Europeans got on a boat and sailed across the North Atlantic Ocean and landed in America. Hypothetically, what if they landed here, and let's just say hypothetically the native quote-unquote Americans somehow had created this utopianic society and decided to to provide healthcare, transportation, food, housing to the Western Europeans that showed up on the North American shores. What would have happened? Do you think society would look a little different now than yesteryear? I'm just asking the question. I'll let you answer that. But again, circle back, fast forward, right now where we're at, we've got 300 million people in the country. 300 million plus. Probably 100 million, maybe more, maybe 150 million, probably don't contribute in any meaningful way. Yeah. But they vote. And they vote, at a certain point, if you have, let's say, 51% of the population that is reliant upon a entity or a government that provides healthcare, transportation, housing, food, education, and maybe a job. If you want one, that is. But again, realistically, if you have healthcare, housing, transportation, food, do you really need a job? Or do you go to school permanently? I don't know. I imagine, if 51% of the population is getting that benefit, and the other 40-odd% are paying into a system that gives those individuals that benefit, then at a certain point, does that other 40% start to ask questions? Why am I working? Why am I doing all this when I can just say I'm done and get healthcare, transportation, food, and housing, right? Yeah. Now, do you think that is going to attract peoples from other places around the globe, right? Hey, bring your huddled masses because we will give you healthcare, transportation, housing, food, education, and if you want a job, we'll find something for you there too. So all your needs are met. I mean, yeah, it does. It sounds pretty darn good. I could just sit here all day and make YouTube videos. I wouldn't have to do anything. I could receive my health care, my transportation, my housing, my health care, and make content for YouTube and bring in some extra money on top of my possible universal basic income. I'm actually starting to convince myself that might actually be better. You guys, man. I got to tell you, I am starting to become enlightened. No, seriously, look. I could sit here and make YouTube videos. And while I'm making these YouTube videos, I will have my housing, my transportation, my health care, my food, my universal basic income, plus, the vast revenue from YouTube coming in, and I could just do this full time. You could hear the voice of reason 8 hours a day, 7 days a week, That would be great. That would be awesome. Yeah, I need to do some rethinking. I really do. Have a good day.